everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nancy. Hope everyone's doing well these days. I'm here today to show you how to make some small tassels for your junk journals, your planners, your traveler's notebooks, maybe attached to a purse, however you wish to use them. The last video I did was on tags. Using vellum on tags, but it didn't get a lot of views, so I decided to switch my plans and start making some tassels. I still have more tag ideas that I want to share, but maybe I will do some videos a little later on. So these are all the tassels I've been making. I've tried different methods, and I've come up with two methods that I found are the most simple way to make them. But there's so many different variations you can do with a tassel. Like this one, for example, has a bead around the wrap, and it's one of those large hole beads. And then it's got a little crystal bead on the top. This is a 3-tiered tassel with a little bead on the top. And this one has a jump ring, so you can easily attach it to your planner. And then I added a little charm dangle to the side of it with a butterfly on it. I really like this one. This one is got a wire wrap on the top and a little crystal in the middle. And this one has some gold thread. And here you can see an example of a lobster clasp on the end of it, so you can put the charm anywhere you want, take it off, put it on, move it around. So that's a great way to attach your tassels to your journals. Here's a longer one. It's wire wrapped. It's got another little bead. Ugh, I can't find my camera. There we go. And so today I thought I'd show you how to make just a very simple tassel, and also show you possibly how to wire wrap one, and as well show you how to attach a charm, a little charm loop, jump ring to the bottom of the wrap, and also how to put a little ring or jump ring at the top to attach a lobster clasp to, or I don't know, a piece of cord, however you want to attach your tassel to your journal or your planner. So let's move these aside, and I thought I would go through a supply list first, and then we'll make some tassels. First of all, you need about 4 to 5 yards. No, actually, I take that back. About 6 yards, maybe a little bit more, maybe 6.5 yards of embroidery floss or pearl cotton. And this is the number 10 size. It comes in different sizes, but this number 10 seems to work really well in making tassels. It seems to be thick enough. And or you could use this. This is called Vanna's Palette Yarn. It's by Lion Brand, and you can get it comes in packages of 8 little mini skeins of a variety of colors, and she's got several different combinations available, and you can get it on Amazon if you don't want to get it at Joann's, but it's a little bit more on Amazon than if you bought it directly from Joann's website, where you can get it a little cheaper. I think on Amazon it runs about $8 for 8 little mini skeins. On Joann's it was about $6 for 8 of these. And don't forget, if you do go to Joann's online, if it's not on sale, you can use the coupon. So there you go. Trying to save you a little money here. I happen to have all these crochet threads because I was doing thread crochet for a while, and I have a ton of floss because I used to do counted cross stitch, and I did it for as long as I can remember. So I have a ton of different colors of embroidery floss. So those are the fibers I use to make the tassels. The other thing you will need is like a thin piece of cardstock, and about 6 inches wide, and the length is actually up to you. The length of the tassel you want to make determines the length of the card that you will choose to have. This one is 3 inches in length because we're only going to make some small tassels today. And then what I did was I folded this card in half just to make it a little sturdier, so when I'm wrapping the yarn around it, it doesn't bend too much. But it's still bendable enough that if I want to slide the tassel off without cutting the threads, I can do that. So I just folded it in half and took a piece of tape just to close it. Okay, and then I took a pair of scissors and I made about a 1/2 inch slit on this side. Then I turned it around and made a 1/2 inch slit right here. And here's an example of a smaller one that I made for shorter tassels. This is 2.5 inches. So you'll need that. The 3 inch is fine for today, but if you want to do the 2 inch, you can make a 2 inch too. You will also need a sharp pair of scissors. I used these Tim Holtz scissors, which are fairly new, so they're still really sharp. But a sharp pair of scissors, some jewelry wire if you want to learn how to wire wrap. You want to try wire wrapping your tassel. I suggest a gauge about 26 gauge. Jewelry wire comes in different gauges, and the higher the number, the thinner the wire is. So, and it comes in all different colors. So some jewelry wire, and it would be helpful but not necessary to have some jewelry tools. A chain nose pliers, which is like this with a point on it. And if you don't have those but you have a bent nose, those will work too. But remember, the bent nose ones, at least the ones I have, don't have as much of a point on them as the chain nose does. And a pair of jewelry wire cutters. This is like gives it a flush cut on the wire. But 26 gauge wire you can cut with a pair of scissors too, but it will dull the scissors. The other thing you'll need or might want to have is a comb. This really helps with the fine ends of this. Really helps with the threads or the fibers I was using to make my tassels. It helps to comb out the fibers and make the tassel nice and neat and fluffier. And also when you're working with embroidery floss, which is actually 6 strands wound together, it helps to separate those strands, as you can see here. it helps to separate those strands to make a fluffier tassel. So yeah, I would recommend the comb. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, one more. If you want to attach your tassel and make it removable, and so you can move it around, you can get lobster clasps, and they come in different sizes. All I had was this size, but they do come in big, much larger sizes and a little bit smaller as well. And you can put that on the top of your tassel to attach it. And then you will need some jump rings. A lot of the people that did videos on tassels have recommended a closed jump ring, which is a very good idea. Then you don't have to watch for the opening of a regular jump ring. But as you can see, I used it on the top of this tassel, and I didn't have to worry about where I placed the ring because a closed jump ring has no opening. It's just a plain metal circle, and it makes it very easy to make tassels and not worry about where the jump ring splits apart. And but if you don't have any closed ones, you can use you know, the simple ones where it opens on one end or one area of the circle. The sizes I used ranged in like 9 to 10 millimeters for the rings at the tops of the, or larger at the tops of the tassels. And for the jump ring that I put on this tassel for a little charm, that one is about 6 millimeters. So I think I've covered all the supplies. So why don't we start off with some embroidery floss and do a simple tassel. So I'm going to take these little things off and carefully unwind it because it likes to get knotted up real easily. I don't want that to happen while I'm on camera. So I'm going to try to unwind it and see if that helps. Alright, so get the end of your thread and take the card that you made and put the floss in that one slot like that. And for these tassels, I'm going to wind it around about 30 times. See, there's a knot right there. Should come apart. That's 8. And then I just push them down and line them up nice and neat. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Push them down. Now let's start getting knotted up. $16, $17, $18, $19, $20, $21, $20. Oop, push them down. $22, 23. It's getting knotted up again. The pearl cotton is just as bad. It gets really knotted up, so be careful. I lost count, so we're about at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There's probably more than 30, but it's close. So I take the thread that I ended with and I put it in the other slot I made. That way it holds everything nicely together when I go to tie it together. So now you'll need about a 6-inch piece of floss, maybe less. You take that and I bend the card just slightly. You stick that 6-inch piece all the way through underneath your threads. I'm going to release this end. If it wants to come out. And then I'm going to take that piece of thread and tie it at the top of the card. I'm going to tie 2 knots. I'm going to try to pull the strings as tight and close together as I can. Even if it doesn't go all the way to the top, try to make it go as far as you can to the top. So there's the knot tied. We'll release this one. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to take my scissors and cut. And there's part, the beginnings of your tassel. I'm going to find that knot and thread I used to tie the center together, because I'll use that to hold on to when I go to straighten this out. So I'm going to take those 2 ends and kind of pull on it slightly and work with the tassel to get it nice and smooth at the top. I might even take my comb. Let's cut that extra end off there. Take the comb, holding the top, and start combing it a little to make get all the ends laying straight and smooth. Okay. Now once I've done that, I'm going to cut another piece of floss that's maybe about a little less than 12 inches long. And that's what I'm going to use to wrap the top of the tassel. The way I do it, sometimes, but not always, is I make a loop at the bottom of that thread that I just cut. About maybe 2 inches is plenty. And I fold it, make the loop, folding the thread, and then I lay it on the tassel like this, where I'm going to wrap it. And I make sure that there's plenty of cord on the short end peeking out the, sticking out the top. Okay, so now I take the long end and I start wrapping from the top of the tassel down, and I'll wrap over this cord. Now you can make a messy wrap, or you can make a neat wrap where you line up the cords next to each other. And you can wrap it as many times as you want. Just depends on how long you want that wrap. This is about 4 times. 5, 6, let's do about 7. Now, holding on to that cord that I was using to wrap, I find that loop that I made, and I take the end and loop it through, or stick it through the loop twice. Like that. Then I take the cord that's sticking out of the top and start to pull on that loop. Make sure the one at the bottom is pulling up as nicely too. And what it's supposed to do, but it didn't. Let me pull it back down a little. There. What I did was I was pulling that loop. Here. I pulled that loop so it would go under the wrap and hide the knot, so you don't have the knot showing. And that secures it pretty well. And then I take it and clip off the ends. I'll clip off this end, and the other end I can leave. If it's not too short, I can leave it and work it into the tassel. So then I take the tassel and I smooth it out, and I'll take my comb again and I'll start combing it out. And you can do this after you've cut the ends too. You keep separating those strands. It helps to start at the top near the wrap to separate the strands. You see how the comb just moves through it really nicely. So I take that and I kind of smooth it out, and then I'll trim my ends off. Initial cut, and then I'll smooth it out again, and you just keep smoothing it out till you're happy with the bottom, that it's nice and smooth and even, like that. And there's your simple tassel, and you can use this cord to attach it to your journal or your planner. So there's the simple, the very, very basic one. Now the second one, I'm going to use the crochet thread, and I'm going to show you a different way of making these short ones, like this one. They are often called jewelry tassels because they're real short and little, and you can use them in jewelry. And I learned this method on a video I watched with Beataholic, or Beataholic, however they pronounce it. So you take your cotton, and like I said, this knots really easily, so I want to make sure it's nice and loosely laying out on the board. And I take, the thread and drape it over my hand, and holding my palm out like this, I wrap around my fingers. It's 12 wraps so far. I'm going to do about 15. Okay, so I've got 15 wraps here. So, holding my threads together, I'm going to slip it off my hand like this, and then trim the end. And at this point, I'm going to grab a jump ring, which is in my little tool, my little lid here. You want the silver one. This one's smaller, so it'll be, this type of wrapping makes it very easy to put a jump ring on. Actually, I want gold. I think this is a gold one. Let me just fix it here. I want to make sure it's all closed. There. Okay. So, my loops are a little off, but that's okay because I'm going to be cutting them pretty short. So you take the jump ring, you can get it, and slip it over the end. Now this one's pretty little, so it might be fiddly, but you can get it on because I've gotten it on many times. I'm all thumbs today. I really apologize. Slip it over the end like that and pull your loops through. There we go. Then you take the loops and you fold them in half over that jump ring. Now, since I have an open jump ring, I'm gonna make sure that that split is at the top, because I don't want my threads sliding through. I kind of smooth it out, make sure I'm not moving my ends around. And then I do the same thing that I did with the first one. I take a piece of thread about 6 inches long. This time I'll show you how to just make a knot instead. So, making sure I'm about where I want to be. I hold this thread with my hand and start wrapping from the top down. I didn't leave myself too much here, so I'm going to just do a small wrap. That's about 4 wraps around. And make sure you pull nice and tight, making sure everything stays even. And then you take that end you held with when you started it, and take the one that you just ended with and tie them in a knot, in 2 knots, or 3 actually. I usually do 3. That's 1. 2, 3, 3. Okay. Now you can either cut those ends closely and maybe put a dot of glue on that knot, or if they're long enough, you can incorporate them into the tassel, which I will do here. So now you go to the end of your tassel, just pull that knot a little bit tighter, and you cut your loops. The lady did it so easily on that video. But we're making this short, so it's okay that we have some short strands in here. And we smooth it down. I even take my comb. Make sure I didn't miss any loops. And then you trim it off. And again, trim the ends. Give it a haircut. And you've got a little short jewelry tassel. So if you want to add a loop, I keep saying a loop, a jump ring there to attach a little charm. You take about a 6-inch piece of the same cord and take the smaller size jump ring. In this case, I think it's about a 6 millimeter. Yeah, I think that's it. This size, and I'm going to make sure it's closed first. I'll take my jewelry tool and do that. Because here they have them overlapping. Some jump rings don't come this way, but these did. Can't see real well. Yep, there it is. It's nice and closed. And I take this thread and I loop it in, or fold it in half, and take the loop. And I'm making sure that I'm not wrapping the loop around the end that's, you know, you can open, but the other end where it's not, I stick the loop through the ring and then pull it through like we do when you're putting a what is it called? When you're putting a piece of ribbon on a tag. Slip it through and then put your strings through the loop. And pull it tight. So still making sure I'm not, you know, on that little crease, that little opening there. I take it and split the threads apart. And then I wrap the jump ring around the bottom of the wrap. I lay it on there, position it where I want it. Pull the threads around and knot it. Pull that knot. I think I've got it in the right place. And make sure it goes around the bottom of the strands so it's not overlapping any part of the wrap. And then tie it tight. And then you're going to want to take another knot or two and secure it. Tighten it and do another knot. Okay, so I've got it on here, and I've got it just about where I want it. And then if you want, which I'll probably do, is I'll wrap this around here underneath the ring and wrap the other side around underneath the ring and tie it once more, just to give it a little more assurance that it's going to stay there. And that gives you a little jump ring to put a charm on, like that. So that's our second tassel. The next one is, I already pre-made it, so I wouldn't have to take up your time. So it's already pre-made and it's got its jump ring. And I'm going to take about a 6-inch piece of wire, and wrap it with wire. You lay your wire down with a piece, you know, and a piece hanging out. And I'm going to start wrapping from the top to the bottom. Actually, from the bottom to the top. I find it's easier to do it that way. But you can try both ways, see what works for you. Take my wire and I start wrapping. You want to pull that wire as you're winding it around. You can do a messy wrap, or you can line up your wraps next to each other. And I wrap. This is about 4 wraps, and this is about 5. That's 5 wraps. I take this bottom one, and I bring it around to the side of the tassel. Take my cutters, and I clip off, leaving about 1/4 of an inch. And I do the same to the one at the top. And I take that little end that I left and I bend it around with my chain nose pliers, and then I bend it at like a 90-degree angle. I take that end and I stick it, tuck it under and into the tassel. And this wire is pretty forgiving, so you just fiddle with it until you get it in the place that you want it. there's one end hidden. And I do the same for the top. I bring it around to the side. I'm going to do the other side. So I'll do another wrap. Cut it, leaving that little end. Take my chain nose, bend it, and tuck it in there, inside, and kind of, if you can, underneath the wrap. Oop, I pressed a little bit too hard there. Like I said, this wire is pretty bendable, so be careful when you're working with it. And take a look at my ends again, and I'm going to trim them off and even them up. Like that. And there you have a wire wrapped tassel. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Push the like button and comment. That way I know what kind of videos you're liking or not liking. And I will see you later. Bye.